Hi, this is Alex Neuer, the writer and director of Sound of Violence, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 323, where tonight we are going to be talking about 2014's As Above, So Below. This was my pick this week, and you'll hear why soon enough. But in the meantime, of course, I am here with Todd and Steve. They're always so handsome. Gentlemen, how are you this week?
Fine. I didn't get the memo. It was red shirt night. We're all wearing red shirts, so that's
Ooh,
convenient
no,
for As Above, So Below, which is a red poster.
indeed.
Strange? Question mark?
Mhm.
Wow, didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Love it.
excited about discussing this one. It's an interesting one. There's a lot of deep meaning, I think, with this one, and
Yeah, sounds cool.
I think it's going to be an interesting discussion here at the end of the episode. I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yes. Yeah. I'm really excited to deep. This one you can get in some really interesting discussions, I think. So and that's why I picked it. So you'll hear more. I do want to mention, guys, do not forget we are quickly approaching our official Horror Squad podcast meetup, Living Dead Weekend, June 7th through the 9th in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Head over to the livingdeadweekend.com. You can get your weekend passes and most importantly, the 1 p.m. mall tour we are all going to be doing. It's going to be an awesome weekend. Me, Todd, and Steve will all be there, as well as quite a few of the listeners as well. We're going to be hanging out all weekend together. We'll figure out a dinner night and stuff like that as well, and just hanging out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So join all of your like-minded horror fanatics at Living Dead Weekend. It's going to be a blast. And
Sir.
now, let's jump into what watched. What you been watching this week, gentlemen?
Nothing. I saw Dune 2 in the theater, which I thought was really cool, but it's not horror related, but I gave it a very high 4.5 out of 5, but that's all I've really watched.
Nice. All right, I'll go first then. So the first one I watched is one I watched over on Shudder, and it is a 2024 film by the name of History of Evil. So this is a story of the near future where conservative Christians have taken over the U.S. and the U.S. is now divided into like kind of different states, and they are basically imprisoning anyone who isn't on their side. They have checkpoints that make you swear on the Bible, to make sure that you're doing things the right way. And the leader of the so-called resistance is taken out of jail and smuggled back into one of the territories so that they can continue their fight against the Christian conservatives. And basically, they managed to slip through one of those checkpoints, and she's taken to a safe house until she can be extracted by the resistance and then continue on her work. But little did she know, the safe house is actually haunted, and that's where kind of the meat of the story is about what's happening in this house, why are things happening the way they are. The characters are kind of getting almost like they're kind of getting possessed, and they see different things, and they're imagining things. And also there's quite a history of really bad things that happen on this property involving like the KKK and groups like that. So that's kind of the gist of the story. So this movie tries to be two things at once. It tries to be like a political thriller and also a paranormal horror, but they do neither of them good, and that's kind of a problem to me. Had they picked a lane one way or the other, I think it could have been an interesting film. They were kind of setting up an interesting dystopian future, but once they get to the haunted house, they forget a lot of it. But then you get to the haunted house and there's not a lot of time left in the movie, so they kind of rush through that stuff as well. So it's like they failed both, which is a big problem because there was an interesting premise there and it just didn't really go anywhere. There are solid performances from the entire cast on both sides of the fence. So I think it's just really a failed potential type of movie to me. I honestly would not recommend it. I think there just isn't enough meat here to check out. So that's History of Evil on Shudder. I gave it 1.5 stars out of 5.
Ouch. All right. Skip that one, folks. All right. My first one tonight is a film from 2011 called The Darkest Hour. This one is about, we follow a couple of young people headlined by Emil Hirsch. Him and his buddy, they head to Russia to close on this sort of business deal. The business deal kind of goes awry, so they end up going out to the bar. They meet a couple of young ladies while out at the bar. And then all of a sudden, while they're at the bar, I think like the power goes out. Everyone kind of heads outside in the bar, and you start seeing like all of these sort of flashing lights coming down to Earth. And what we come to find out is it's an alien invasion. And these aliens that sort of have this like sort of special invisibility type thing going on, but like it reacts to electronics. It's kind of a bloodbath to begin. Like they fucking, just by like them touching you, you essentially like disintegrate. You just turn like into ash. So the apocalypse essentially starts from there. And the movie follows Emil Hirsch and his band of survivors trying to survive this alien invasion. I mean, I love alien invasion movies, so I was like interested, instantly. But overall, man, I just found this one pretty dull and boring for the most part. It had the concept like had some promise, but I did not like the Moscow setting in this one. Like, cause they're all like American tourists anyway. Like even the people he meet are American tourists. So it's like, why are we even putting this really in Russia? They do end up meeting a couple of Russian people along the way that help them out and stuff. But I just didn't love the setting of Moscow. And then, yeah, like it just like fell super flat to me. You never really get to see the aliens, which is lame. At one point you do see sort of they find a way to fight against them by creating these sort of microwave transmitter guns that weakens their invisibility shields, and you can see the aliens, and it's just like really horrible CGI. So that made it even more lame. So yeah, overall, I did not really enjoy this movie at all. I would definitely say skip it. Not worth your time. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because just for the sheer sort of one scene where like everyone just gets absolutely disintegrated was kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, just not great. So yeah, that's The Darkest Hour. Skip it.
All right. My last film this week is a screener that we got. So a 2024 film. It is now available on VOD if you'd like to check it out. And that is Easter, Bloody Easter, which is, of course, Good Friday on the day that this episode releases. So happy Easter to everybody. So this story, very simple. There's animal killings in a town and people are trying to figure out what it is. One of the women thinks that it's a killer jackalope, I think she says. Basically a giant big bunny. Of course, the cops don't believe her, so she kind of decides that she's going to take care of this problem herself by finding people who can corroborate her story and help her defeat the evil rabbit. I mean, there's not a lot to this story. This is a very low budget film. It's directed and stars the same person. Her name is Diane Foster. And it's just all over the place. I mean, this movie has full-ass dance routines that last like 4 or 5 minutes at a time. There's like these whole like songs and musical numbers, because why the fuck not, that really don't have anything to do with the movie. They just like insert them as if they want their friend's band to play or something, and we have to sit through it for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. It tries to be funny. I don't think I laughed once throughout the whole film. Some scenes are so over dramatic and like overly produced. Like a lot of like slow-mo shots, or they get way too emotional about absolutely nothing. There's a scene where one of the characters, well, the main character, gets covered in blood, and then there's like this slow-mo shot of her like walking like a badass with the big score like behind it. It was a little bit too much for this type of movie. They did one of my biggest pet peeves in horror, CGI blood. There's a lot of CGI blood in this. Now there is a little bit of fake blood, like practical blood as well, but it's always like these very specific blood spurts that one of the programs must have like pre-programmed into the system that you see a lot in movies like this, and they do it a lot in this movie. So that kind of sucked. I will say that when the main bunny attacks, and also there's all these like little possessed bunnies that also attack, those scenes were pretty cool. I actually enjoyed those. I thought they were fun, and I wish the movie was a little bit more like that. But it's also like when you really look at it, it's obviously people holding the bunnies and pretending to get like choked by them or eaten by them. It's so obvious that it's like just a fucking like basically a plush bunny and everything like that. So I just honestly would not recommend this one. I didn't enjoy it personally. Maybe some of you will find some enjoyment out of it. Not a whole lot of Easter horror. It's an untapped resource. So maybe if you like to see some Easter horror, this is one you can check out. So it is out on VOD if you'd like. I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. But again, that's just not for me. That doesn't mean it's not for everyone.
All right. Is there any good Easter horror out there? I'm like trying to think. We fucking reviewed like
Night of the
another
Lepus?
terrible one.
Is that one?
Yeah, I guess.
Kind
Is
of.
that even
It's
on
bunnies,
Easter,
though.
though?
It's like
It's bunnies, right?
yeah.
The only good thing I can even think of is a short in that holidays anthology where it was like Jesus Bunny, and it was fucking terrifying, and it was really good. Other than that, I can't think of
Well,
anything. We did like we did Bunny Man Massacre, which was fucking terrible,
Yeah.
like way back when.
Well, a few
yeah.
weeks ago we
we're
reviewed
due.
a few weeks ago we reviewed Demon Knight, and technically that's at the crucifixion, which would be Easter weekend.
True.
So
Yes,
You're
Easter
reaching, you're
weekend.
reaching.
Yes.
Easter
It's a reach,
movie,
yes.
why not, right?
We're due for a good Easter horror movie though, It's tough though, right, man? Because you think like Easter, like how can you really make a good like Easter bunny like type horror movie? It's tough.
Yeah.
But hey, man,
Come
we
on,
we
Slasher
finally got a
dressing up
good.
as Easter Bunny.
You know what?
Sure.
There's a scene in, of all fucking things, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where they go into hell, and I forget which one, Bill or Ted, has nightmare of a bunny, and that bunny was fucking freaky. Like they can do it if they can pull it off. Pretty scary, and fucking
They
Bill and
definitely
Ted,
could.
they could make a pretty cool bunny killer movie. So, filmmakers, Easter, untapped resource.
100%. Like, we finally got a good Thanksgiving horror movie
Right.
this year with Eli Roth, or last year. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get a good Easter one soon. All right. I don't have anything else this week. I don't know if you have anything else you want to touch on, Steve.
Very, very, very briefly, because I don't want to go over it, but I watched the Humpty Dumpty trilogy on Tubi.
Oh, Jesus.
Based off a comment on Discord, our buddy Eric watched the second one. I don't know why he watched the second one. I guess
he went part 2 before part 1, huh? It's bold.
he probably had no idea. Like, it's not exactly this big story, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna watch all 3 of them, and don't. Was basically what I'm getting at here. Really,
Okay,
really,
but
really bad.
you watched part 1, you probably didn't like it, and you went to 2, and you probably still didn't like it, and you still went to 3.
Well,
Like,
dude,
it's your own fault.
I cannot go on Letterboxd and see that incomplete series. I just can't. Like they tease you with that number too. If you have a Letterboxd Pro, right? It's like, oh, here are the series that you're missing movies out of.
Yes.
The completionist in me just, I couldn't. So I had to watch them. And what I'm afraid of, and this is happening with the Jack in the Box series. I don't know if you guys watched any of those. They keep making them. And now I'm fucking stuck every year to watch a new Jack in the Box. And I'm afraid Humpty Dumpty, it's the last 3 years. I'm afraid this is going to be the same thing where like fucking Death Toilet has like 7 of them and still going. So, and I'm just keeping up with that completion every year. So, yeah. So it's
You poor sad bastard.
well, self-inflicted. So
Right. Bless you, Steve. Bless you.
you never know.
Thanks
for
Maybe
watching all the
one
trash.
day, I find gems once in a while. It's rare, but I find them. So you got to watch them to find them.
Mhm.
You know what's cool though?
Sure.
It's
Like Carousel.
Yeah, zombie ass.
gem my ass. You know what's cool though is like those filmmakers probably keep a really close tab on their stats, on Tubi, and when you watch it, they're like, "Fuck yeah, someone watched it."
Yeah.
Well, Tubi's pay-per-view, right? So they get
They get money for it.
like 3 cents every for me watching it. So.
There you go.
And
You
then
get 9 cents for them.
I'm also telling other people, to
Yeah.
not in this case, not check it out, but
Yeah, you and Eric did 12 cents minus tax, and I probably made like 8 cents off you guys. So
there you go. So enjoy your. nothing.
I got a I have a challenge for you then, Steve.
Oh,
Christ.
So there's been a dude who's been going through all the horror groups being like, who's the out of these four options, like who would you pick? And it's like Art the Clown, Freddy Krueger, like Jason Voorhees, and then he keeps inserting his new horror character
All
like
right.
into that fourth spot. And everyone's like, who the fuck is this? He's like, oh, it's from this movie Diced. You should check it out.
That's
And he doesn't
funny,
even
dude.
mention he doesn't even mention that he's the director or anything like that.
I
Or
love
so-
that.
He just yeah. I'm like, wow, man, love the hustle. So the movie is called Diced, DIE apostrophe CED. It's only 60 minutes long, so I don't know anything about it, but it says a teenage girl determined to discover what happened to her missing mom finds herself face to face with a deranged serial killer that was mistakenly released from an insane asylum on Halloween night. And it looks like a scarecrow clown
How do you
type
spell it again?
killer
Oh, it's a-
there. D
Die.
like die and
Oh, okay.
then like an apostrophe CED. So it's diced. But
Oh, okay, okay, I got it.
okay, I got
yeah.
it. If I oh, it's on
Yeah.
Tubi.
It's on
so I'll-
Tubi. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
It's on Tubi, yeah.
There you go. There you go,
Well,
Jeremy.
Mr.
Jeremy Rudd.
Yeah.
Not related to Paul Rudd or Paul Rudd's
Maybe.
brother. Who knows?
Enjoy your 3 cents next week.
You know what? Let's make it 6. I'm gonna watch it too.
So,
Did you guys notice
yeah,
Tubi redid their like whole
They did.
thing? Now it's like I couldn't find it. I hate when the apps do that. You're like, what the fuck is
Dude,
Tubi?
Like the thing with Tubi is that all of a sudden Tubi's becoming super popular because Netflix, Amazon, like all of these companies are not only raising prices, but now they're charging extra if you don't want ads. And Tubi's like, well, if you're gonna watch it with ads, come watch it with us. We're fucking free, So they're getting these big deals. They're getting all of DC Comics soon. They're like all the DC movies.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, they're making big plays to become a big player, and they recently said again, we will never charge for our service. So
That's awesome. I would pick Tubi over any streaming service personally.
me too. If I had
With
to
Prime
pick, if I
being
had to
second.
pick one, it would be Tubi because of all the indie stuff, and they have mainstream stuff, as well. So it's great.
Hell yeah.
Sponsor us, Tubi. God damn it!
Come on, Tubi.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, all the Tubi love right now.
Horror Squad Podcast,
yeah,
the movie
so-
2026 on Tubi exclusively.
there you go. So there you go. You'll probably get a little diced review for. I'll probably watch it with you guys too. It's only an hour, so maybe I'll
It's
jump on.
59
I've seen a
minutes
lot
on
of people.
Tubi.
Yeah, all the Letterboxd review just said it's a Terrifier 2 ripoff or a Terrifier film series ripoff. So that
Let's go.
intrigues me already.
Let's
so
go.
we'll check it out for Diced next week's watch maybe, folks. So keep an eye on that. All right, Todd, bust out the books. Let's get into some trivia for this week.
All right. So this will actually be the final episode of the quarter. Here we go. Final episode of the quarter. 13, myself in the lead with Steve behind me at 12. Joe with 8. Can Joe pull it off? No, he can't. Not mathematically, so he's done. But
Come on,
he can play spoiler.
this is just bullshit.
No, he can mathematically. He gets 6 points.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
What was I thinking of?
Yeah,
That's
Todd.
I'm not good at math. I got a D- my last math class in high school.
Hold on. Let me open an extra window here then.
Yeah, right.
Start typing.
Get Siri going. Get Alexa going. Get the whole fucking
Yes.
make Cortana like bring up
You're-
Bing.
If I say her name, she'll
Yes.
speak. But your device is packed up probably, Steve, so you can't cheat right now.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
cheater.
All
I'll
right,
go first. Get
gentlemen,
those
who wants to
brains
start us
warmed up.
off? All right.
I got it. All right.
Yes.
Question number 1. Name the title. So I need the title that you'd find this character in. Suki Stackhouse.
Oh,
Oh, I know that name.
I hope you
Suki.
don't, because you're one behind me.
Suki Stack. Oh my god.
Right.
I'm not giving you any
Rectuma.
fucking hints for that.
That'd be awesome if it was true. God, I definitely is it audition?
Incorrect. You guys
that's a
want
good
any more
guess though.
guesses?
God, that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I pretty sure both of you have seen this property before.
Battle
I
Royale.
just- it's popped up in our conversation
I
like
don't
5,
remember.
6 times. The answer is TV shows True Blood. Suki's.
I've actually never watched True.
Me neither.
True Blood.
Oh, yeah, me either. I just pulled it out fast.
Way to go.
No, it was one. It was
Well,
one of these
He's,
questions
he's
on
in the
horror
lead. He's
trivia.
asking questions about something
Well,
none of us
no,
have
because
seen.
we've talked about that before, even though we've never seen it, and it's in this fucking horror trivia card book that I got.
Okay.
So apparently, people know if it's in that.
Apparently,
All right.
we get your game. We
All
get
right.
it.
What color were
Yeah.
Jason's
Yeah.
pants?
In a TV series that would never made it to air.
Friday 13th the show
Green.
was pretty good. Correct.
All right, I'll go next. In Hereditary,
Mm.
what food does Charlie have her allergic
Cake.
reaction to?
Cake.
That is correct.
Hmm.
Chocolate cake.
Chocolate
walnuts in it.
nuts. With nuts.
Yes.
Which
Let's see.
fucked up to the mom making her go with homeboy to the party. That's like, come on,
Yeah.
man. It's fucked up.
She just wanted to, they were trying to get her to fit in, I think.
But
Yeah,
she's like
she's-
4 years
she's a
younger than him.
homebody.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, lame.
All right.
Well, she learned her lesson, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fuck, too soon.
Yeah.
So
Her and my wife maybe turned that movie off when she smacked her head on the pole. I'm not watching this. I'm like, all right.
As Above, So Below is the second
Mm.
horror film we reviewed with Ben Feldman in it. That's the main guy. What was the other?
Uh,
You know, when I was watching this, I was like, that guy's been in a lot of stuff, but I can't think of like what he's been in. And I did look it up, but it's been like a week since I watched it now, so I already forget.
I know him from
Superstore, probably. That's probably it.
Silicon Valley. He's the
Okay.
lawyer for Pied Piper. Shoot. Was it a Sam film? Was the Sam era?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's a yes. I'm gonna throw Idle Hands out there.
Good guess, but wrong.
Dang it.
I'm gonna throw out like the Friday the 13th remake.
Correct.
Oh, he's
Friday
right.
the 13th
Fuck, he's
remake.
the
Oh,
opening,
yeah.
he's the
Nice.
opening fucking one.
Nice.
Dang it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good movie, man. Doesn't get the
Mhm.
respect it deserves.
Episode 89
Mm.
for anyone who wants to listen to it.
Wow.
Yeah, long. That's before we were Horse Squad. We were still three guys at
Yeah.
that time.
Three guys that can go
Shit.
to horror.
Mhm.
All right, back to me.
Yep.
Okay, match the killer to the movie. I need the title of the movie, and the killer's name is Mick Taylor.
Oh, that's Wolf Creek.
Correct.
I need to watch it. It's been a
Mick
long.
Taylor.
I watched it once, just the first one.
Yeah,
Sequel's
that'd be
not
a good
too
one
bad.
to like revisit.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should.
maybe one to review.
I see him
Yeah.
do autographs once in a while, and like
Does he
consignments
fly
because
here?
I think
Oh,
he lives.
consignment.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Guess the movie based on the IMDb information. This movie was released in 2000, clocking in at 1 hour 30 minutes with an R rating. Categories: parody, supernatural horror, comedy, fantasy,
Scary movie
and music.
Scary Movie 2.
and music. Incorrect.
for both of us.
Yes.
Oh.
Currently
I was
sitting
thinking
at
that
a
too. but
Yeah, I saw your wheels turning. I'm like, I better say something.
Yeah.
currently sitting at a 3.7 out of 10 over on
3.7.
IMDb. Director Rob Spera. Tagline for this film. Actually, I don't know if I can say it. Oh, all right. I'll say the secondary tagline. Evils in the house.
Haunted
Cast.
House.
Incorrect.
Is that a movie?
Cast.
Yeah, with one of the Wayne brothers. It was like a spin-off of Scary Movie.
Oh, is that where Todd Packer's in that one?
I think so.
Okay. Continue, Joe.
All right, sure. Cast. We have Ivory Ocean, Lobo Sebastian,
These real
Red
names.
Grant. Yes. Red Grant, Rashawn Nall, Anthony Montgomery, and Ice-T. I am leaving
Okay.
out the biggest actor,
All right.
but I think that's all that's all I'm gonna give you.
Ice-T. I have no clue.
I'm gonna go Tales from the Hood 2.
No, but you're getting closer, Steve. I'll give you guys one more guess if you'd like. Once again, movie came out in 2000. R rating, 1 hour 30 minutes.
It's a
The
parody.
parody might have thrown you off. It's
Okay.
not really a parody, I will say.
Oh.
It kind of, it's not really, but that is one of the ones listed. But supernatural horror, comedy, fantasy, probably your best guesses there.
With Ice-T.
Once again, tagline: "Evil's in the house."
Corey in the House
I
from
don't even know.
No.
Nickelodeon
Oh,
films.
I have no
Any more
idea.
guesses?
No.
Okay.
No.
The one actor I left out was Warwick Davis. The movie is
Oh, it's
Leprechaun
Leprechaun in the
5
Hood.
in the Hood.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. Dang it.
Damn it. Mhm,
Alright.
yeah.
Good one.
They made a sequel to that one. Leprechaun.
They
in
did.
the Hood
Leprechaun Back to
2.
the Hood.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay. Guess the movie based off the IMDb parental guide. So, of course, we start with some sex and nudity.
Mm-hmm.
It is heavily implied a character is sleeping with another character's husband.
It
As
happens.
is tradition.
Violence and gore. A woman falls down a hole and hits a wall on the way down, but she lives. However, a bone is protruding from her pants is seen.
Ouch.
A woman pushes the bone back into the leg.
The Descent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew that.
You're
Yeah, I was going to say
fucking
that. I was
done,
getting ready to say
Steve.
that.
Good movie.
Yes.
All right.
It made me think of this one. That's why.
Yeah.
Final question.
For you.
You've seen, yeah, for me. You've seen The Funhouse, right, Steve? Toby Hooper?
Well, yeah, once. That's yeah.
Well, tough shit. In The Funhouse, directed by Mr. Toby Hooper. What kind of mask does the creature / inbred / mutant guy wear to hide his disfigurement?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
It's a good movie.
Was it like a
man.
clown?
No, it's not a clown. It's a
Is it a mime?
mime. No, it's like a classic kind of thing. Like you'd be like, oh fuck, nothing.
Yeah.
I just
can't
saw
remember.
it on.
Obviously,
Search-
there's
Search
that,
of
like,
Darkness
really-
recently.
I just remember that really bizarre scene where like the woman has like sex with him, right? Or like, does he rape her? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
No,
It's like
she's
fucking
a prostitute,
disturbing.
and
kind of-
he's like,
Right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he's
She
wearing
charges
the
like 100.
mask, right?
yeah,
In that
charges
scene,
like
I
$100
think.
and
Yeah.
gets mad or something.
I don't
Is it
remember.
a scarecrow?
No, Steve, you want another guess?
No.
A reptile?
No, the answer is Frankenstein's monster.
Mm.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep,
that's right.
good movie. We should probably cover that on the show one day.
Yeah, we covered it, I think, back in the Three Guys days, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't... Last one for me then. 3 Letterboxd reviews. Guess the movie. All right. Number 1. All I'm saying is that none of this would have happened and everyone would have been just fine if she had just decided to not keep that damn baby. Right. Number 2. This movie is 90 minutes of boring, miserable characters and a shitty, convoluted plot involving pregnancy and an annoying kid. It's just not fun. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Fuck this joyless slog. All right. And I'll give you the last one.
I have a guess. I just
Oh.
want to say it.
I was going to say, I'm going to give you the last clue, but once I give you this last clue, you will only get one guess because
Okay.
it will be a dead giveaway. So if you'd like to guess before,
Oh,
go for it.
yeah, but then he'll get the clue anyway, and then it's a dead giveaway.
Right.
So
Do it.
It's not a dead. It's a dead giveaway for a certain franchise. I will say.
okay, just say.
All right. So here. Okay. All right. So the last one. Why should I go to therapy when I can simply see Freddy Krueger skateboard?
Okay, no, that's not what I was thinking.
I was thinking
I was thinking The Omen before.
I was thinking Babadook, but I'm like, she's not pregnant in that.
What?
Freddy Krueger skateboard. Why should I go to therapy if I blah, 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 blah.
That's not ringing any bells.
No, not at all. I have no
I have
clue.
no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the correct answer is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
Oh, it's really Freddy Krueger. I thought you were just being
Yes.
clever and making.
No,
I thought when you said Frank Kuri, you just meant Robert Englund. I'm
No.
thinking, when was Robert Englund on a skateboard?
I want to guess those review like convoluted plot. What's convoluted about it? Like, I don't know. Whatever. I think it's good, decent, not that
Oh, I
great.
hate Powerpuff. Powerpuff's my least favorite of like any of them, I think.
All right, last one of the night. This is based off the IMDb Did You Know section.
Okay.
Trivia. The actors weren't given scripts, but were given guidelines on how to behave and what to discuss in their
Blair
scenes.
Witch Project.
Wrong.
Nah,
Oh,
too
you
early.
were fucked. Yeah, way too early. Quotes. I'm pretty sure what we did was illegal in Kentucky and 20 other states. She's a freak.
Oh.
She's a freak.
Goofs. The main character's hair changes color from deep brunette to light brown and back again as the film progresses. Crazy credits. The theatrical release of this film had no closing credits. After the final scene, a title card offered the fate of the main characters. Then there was a brief showing of copyright and other protections, and the screen went black for a few seconds before the standard blue screen showing the movie's rating appeared. And the soundtrack, Paralyzed by Rock Kills Kid.
Well,
Not ringing a bell for me. I don't know if you
Yeah.
got anything, Totter.
I don't have a single thing. Illegal in Kentucky. No, I don't know.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'll give you 2 hints. It's in the 2000s, and it spawned a decently sized franchise.
Decently sized franchise. 2000s.
Paranormal Activity.
Correct.
What? I don't get those goofs at all,
Right.
or those tidbits. Well,
Film.
that's it.
I was just reading about that the other day. They filmed it in like 7 days. That movie, and I think it was Spielberg.
Yeah,
It was
it's
illegal,
like
though.
said that they should change the ending to it.
It was something about the filming of Inside the House or something. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps up quarter number 1. Tonight's big winner is Joe with 3, Steve with the goose egg tonight, myself with 2. What? But brings us to quarter champion with 15, Steve in second, 12, Joe at third with 11. I will pick a tasty punishment film. The problem is Steve watches all these fucking things willingly.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
Steve enjoys
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I gotta find something. I don't know. We'll
All
see.
right, well, we'll find out next
out
week.
Next time. Yep.
Yep.
All right. All right. Then let's move on, folks, to our main event of the night, 2014's As Above, So Below. When a team of explorers venture into the catacombs that lie beneath the streets of Paris, they uncover the dark secret that lies within the city of the dead. Solid
She
plot
does.
there.
Yes, she does.
But Todd, let's go a little deeper into this. Let's hear it.
Let's get a little deeper. Scarlet, this English woman, she's the daughter of a kind of blacklisted archaeologist. There you go, researcher. She's in like Syria or Iraq or a Middle Eastern country, I forget which one, and she's like sneaking around. Right, there's some catacombs down there. And this guide's like, you can't fucking go in there. She's a woman. She's not even allowed in this fucking place. She shows her face as a Westerner. She's screwed. But she slinks off into the fucking corridors, and they're about to it's a countdown to blow them up. She finds this hidden doorway thing with like this weird statue with a bunch of fucking foreign languages, whatever. She records it real quick. She runs out, and she gets a glimpse of someone hanging. Like, who's that? I don't know. That'll come back later. Flash forward, she's in France, right? Because she needs to meet up with her little fucking ex-boyfriend, played by Ben something. And he's like this clock fixer guy, and he's fucking jack of all trades. He's in France, he's doing his thing, and she finds him like, hey, like, you want to fucking help me out with this mission I'm on? And she's like, yeah, right. After last time, you fucking left me in a prison in Turkey. And she's like, come on, I couldn't end the archaeological dig. And he's like, fuck you, whatever. Of course he's gonna fucking help her. She's hot. So they meet up, they start reading shit. They go like read a secret scroll on the back of like a tombstone or something. And it's like the entrance to hell is 741 feet deep or something like that. What's below us? The catacombs. So they're like, all right, we're going to go explore. And he's like, no, I don't want to explore. I'm afraid of that. And he's like, I'm not going. you'll fucking go. She's hot. We were talking about this. So they meet up with like a local guy, a Frenchman. He's like, yeah, I can take you in the catacombs. But I want half the treasure because they said there's treasure down there. They sneak in there. A tunnel collapses and they're trapped and they have to find their way out. Saw this one originally back in 2014 and I really liked it back then. I think it's very effective to this day. I like the characters. I think they're all well acted. I like the setting is amazing. I mean, the catacombs surrounded by bodies and bones. It's like, that's sick, man. Love it. I think it personally holds up pretty well and I dig it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I wanted to revisit this one because it had been a minute since I've seen it, which was my main reason for wanting to go back and check it out. And overall, like, yeah, I think this held up extremely well for me. I think it's one of the best found footage movies ever made. Like, I'm just gonna come out and say it right now. I think it's fantastic. There's so much garbage out there with found footage. Like, obviously, Blair Witch sort of brought found footage back, and then after that, we got just so much found footage. And it's tough. It's tough to find great ones. But this one, I think definitely sticks out. I think the catacombs are just an amazing setting for, especially for like a found footage film, but in a film in general, we just have not seen a lot of stuff to do with going down into the catacombs. And the fact that they actually film this in the actual catacombs, I read that they were the only production to actually get approval. And my God, like, I just don't know if it would have worked as well if they didn't, because it just feels so authentic, like when they're down there, and obviously being able to film down there, adds to that authenticity. And I just don't know if it would have held up as well had they not done that. Yeah, I mean, just the thought of going down there and then finding a portal to hell is such a great idea. And then sort of we get the as above, so below, which, we'll get sort of into as we go along. There's just like a lot you can really sort of talk about with this one too. You get the sort of side plot with this, relics, these like super like old relics and stuff like that, but along with this portal to hell, and just like a lot of interesting stuff that gets explored throughout this movie. So I thought it was great. The feeling of claustrophobia, which Steven mentioned, like in The Descent, you get that, and you get that really well here. Like, you really feel the sort of panic and stress that these people are going through and whatnot. I do think we'll get more. My only real complaint, I guess, would be I wish hell was explored a little more. But other than that, I really love this one.
Yeah, I saw this for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember being blown away by it because it's just such an effective found footage film. And yeah, you're right. The using the real catacombs just brought everything, it made everything so much better, because I don't think a production would be able to afford to recreate it unless it's a really big production. And so for something like this to kind of do a movie like this was really, really cool. I like the characters. I'll get some solid scares, both like lingering scares and jump scares. Like, they didn't overuse either of them. So every time something like weird would happen, it was like quite thrilling. I was never bored either. They move from kind of situation to situation really quickly. I like that it parallels a lot of like classic literature and stuff like that. There's just a lot to like about this movie. There are a few things that I kind of had issues with, but they're really more nitpicks than anything. This one is one that's going to stay with me for a while, and just it's one that I urge people to check out. Especially if you like found footage stuff. There isn't a lot, like you said. There's a lot of crap out there with found footage. It's kind of one of the easiest things to make. So this is definitely one of the better ones.
I got an early Todd gripe. You guys ready? So when she meets George in the clock tower, right? Nobody in 284 years tried to fix the clock tower, but it takes this American guy to fucking break in and fix it. Come on, man. Give me a fucking break. That's it. That's all I got.
True.
I was like, come
It's
on,
a
dude.
fair.
Really?
It's a fair argument.
The only thing that I can see, the only reason I can see this being like an actual plausible situation is because it's like a central church in the city, like it's an important church to Paris. There are probably politics around doing any type of alterations because it's a historical building, and it might have gotten lost in like legal limbo where no one can agree on who's going to pay for it and a lot of things like that. And he, kind of being outside the law, fixed it without anyone knowing. So
it just took George and his set of Allen wrenches to fucking.
I mean, this guy not
Figure
only does he know how to fix bells, he knows everything that's ever happened in the history of Paris. When streets collapsed
But he doesn't speak
300
French.
years ago. No, he doesn't speak French. That's yeah. What's your nom, Papillon? I have no idea. I can't talk to him. I know everything about French, but I don't speak a lick of French.
I'm gonna just keep going then with my Todd gripes. All right, I think it's so funny that when they translate the Aramaic to English, it rhymes. How does that work? Like it wouldn't rhyme in Spanish if it's to English.
It was
this rhymes
an
perfectly.
Aramaic rapper who looked ahead. You know?
Nostradamus got hold of it.
Yeah. Fucking in Jesus's time, he was like, one day someone's gonna translate to English, so I'm gonna make it rhyme.
Yeah.
It just sounds better. Yeah. No, that was definitely one of those goofy moments. And like even the thing with the stone, like she takes off the stone off the museum, lights it on fire and shit. The chemicals just happen to be just sitting there on a card, like super conveniently, the exact chemicals she needed to find this message. Like, okay, you have to kind of shut off your brain for some of the stuff in here. It's kind of rushed a little bit, but at least
also
the horror's good.
Yeah, she's also don't breathe it in, and she breathes it in.
Yeah.
She's like 2 inches above the fumes.
This was correct me if I'm wrong. This was kind of during the popularity of Da Vinci Code, because it did feel very Da Vinci Code
National Treasure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's kind of like a horror version of the Da Vinci Code there. I definitely got some of those vibes. One thing I did want to just like a really random ass scene is when they first go down into the catacombs, like the part that's kind of closed off, and the sort of satanic ritual they come across, and they just kind of like gloss over it.
It's cool though, the singing.
It's cool as hell.
Fuck.
It's such a cool.
Creepy.
It's creepy as hell.
I thought they're all ghosts.
Great.
I thought we were like, oh, they're all ghosts or something, but no.
Yeah, it's like, and he's just like, yeah, a lot of weird people come down here, and I'm like, man, I want to explore those people a little more. Like, what the hell is going on in that room? Like, I assume it's some sort of satanic cult, I guess, or like, yeah, it's cool as hell though, and it really sets the tone for what like is to come.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the leader of that cult the woman that they see like just walking by at the bar?
Yeah.
So you'd think there'd be more with her, but they kind of just end it there.
Yeah.
It's like and especially when, first of all, the acknowledgement. It's like acknowledging is one of the freakiest things for me in horror. When a ghost acknowledges your presence, it's like so creepy to me. That's always what I was afraid of as a kid. It's like it's one thing to see a ghost, but if the ghost sees you, that's a whole other like fucking ballgame.
Freaking me out, dude.
Yeah. So when she like turns and just like looked at him right in the fucking soul, that was creepy. And then just the residual singing when they're like in the tunnel and you can still hear it in the background. And I thought they felt like they were getting closer. It kind of reminded me of Blair Witch when the kids, were like getting closer to the tent and before they start like smacking it around, but they didn't. And they kind of dropped that whole storyline, which is kind of a bummer.
It is.
It's,
yeah. So the setup is, Scarlett is, trying to finish her dad's work. So she has her cameraman with her. And like they're making a documentary essentially. So that's why they're filming in the first place. And then the French guy they meet up with, like he has his crew that like it's good at like urban exploring or whatever. And then that's who accompanies her down into the catacombs.
Do you feel like that guy wanted to really go down like there? You know how he was like being so like hesitant? He's like, I'm not going down. And then he like is kind of forced down there when the cop shows up, when they're sneaking down and they get to, which that seems a little confusing. Like it didn't feel like it was like a cop.
Where'd the cops come from?
I think it was. Yeah, right.
They're just waiting all day right there, dude.
Yeah. He just set the tunnel.
Apparently, and then obviously he's forced to kind of go down there.
So fucking tackles him like Terry Tate, office linebacker, just like out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there's bigger fish to fry than people sneaking around in the tunnel.
Right?
Like let's just let it go.
For real.
But how was Scarlett's French, Steve?
It was okay, like understandable, right? One thing that I thought was cool, or that was kind of missed, and at least in the copy that I had, they didn't have captions for the signs, so you didn't get captions for the gates of hell or like things like that that were on the walls. So I don't know if that was just my copy of it that didn't have
But
those, but
you probably have the French one, right? The Canadian release.
yeah, well, yeah, it's
So
a Canadian
they
release, so
assume you speak French, and
I guess so. But
know.
usually it's kind of similar to the US one. Did they have captions for like signs on the wall?
I feel like they did.
Shoot.
I feel like they did at least once. But
I'm-
then there's I
She
remember
explained,
explains a
yeah.
lot of
scene
it.
where
Yeah,
she does
translates
explain a
it,
lot
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I like what's his face, one of the Frenchmen, his De Niro impression. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It made me think of Joe when he used to do his De Niro impression.
But yeah. So I guess like I don't know where you guys want to dive into, but I guess the most kind of when they actually get into this sort of tomb, they find it and they find like this dude who isn't decayed at
Mhm.
all, like his dead body, which is really fucking creepy
Oh yeah.
and shit like that.
Have we
Then
talked
they
about
find the
what they're
stone.
going for? Like they're going for the Philosopher's Stone,
Yeah, they're going for the
um,
philosophy. Yeah, right.
which
Which
Nicholas
is what she.
Flamel had conjured up,
Hmm.
which is funny because that's exactly this story of Harry Potter, the first one. So that was
Oh, really?
it was kind of yeah. That's it. That's in outside of the U.S. It's called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but in the
Hmm.
U.S. they called Sorcerer's Stone because apparently they
Gotcha.
thought Americans were too dumb to understand what a philosopher was.
Well, I didn't know that, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't know if there was any sort of like actual mythology to this, or they just sort of made up their own thing
What's
to
this
it.
supposed
But
to
yeah,
do? Like grant life or
it's
something?
like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, essentially, like it brings like obviously like when they do finally get the stone, the dude gets fucked up, and they're able to it like instantly heals like you. Like
That's my
it's
question though. Like
yeah.
the stone she originally gets
'Cause
isn't the right stone, right?
No, it's like the
it
But it heals him still. So why does it heal him
yeah.
if it's not the right
That's
stone?
something I was confused with because
No, so I thought it was the real stone, but then once they went through like the portal to hell, right, when it becomes like as above, so below, like it's like now has become like the wrong stone.
Oh, I
Like
didn't.
it's like an because like it's sort of like opposites, like
Maybe I
in a
missed
way.
that explanation.
So yeah, it was a little confusing because they do say like, oh, it's the wrong stone or whatever. But
Yeah.
because the original stone did help, like they put it over that girl's arm
Right.
and it like instantly heals her, but then it doesn't work the second time once they go through the sort of portal to hell. So I assume like once they went through that portal to hell, things sort of changed.
Flipped up on him. Okay.
Yeah.
What about like so they're crawling through like a bone thing and he's like, oh, the whole time the French guy's like, we don't fucking go down that way because my friend went down there. He disappeared 4 years ago, and then they have to go down there because the tunnel collapses behind them. But then it turns out they're in a fucking constant like circle or whatever. But then they run into the friend that was missing, and he's totally fucked up. Like you can tell he's like, this guy's a fucking demon, dude. It's like, what are we doing? But he's like, I know the way out. And then they follow his ass, and he lures him deeper and deeper into the pit, which is so fucking cool, man.
Yeah, we're to assume that that's not actually him, right? Like he's dead,
Yeah.
or whatever, or it's like sort of like a demon playing tricks, like using the same guy, which is cool. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really
because
creepy.
the demon manifests itself a few times in this in the
Mhm.
movie. So you have him, Latuk, who's the guy the friend who presumably passed away down there at some point. But you also have the guy who like at one point they ask like this random dude like where do I find the entrance to this cave essentially, and he's just like he points it to him, and then he disappears, and she's like, oh, that's weird, he just
Oh yeah,
disappeared.
yeah, yeah. The guy was just
Well,
chilling there.
yeah, well, that guy is also the guy in the car, like later in one of the circles of hell, the burning car. It's the same guy.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so it's like so a few times. I think the demon's like kind of manifesting itself depending on who's there and things like that. So.
I really like the idea of finding something working that shouldn't be there. With the example, the phone ringing in the cave. That's just like scary by itself, and I just love the visuals and the audio of that. Like the phone ringing, they find it, she picks it up, and she gets freaked out and hangs it up. And then we learn later that her dad had called her trying to talk him how to kill himself, but she didn't answer the phone or something. So that's like her regret,
For Vice,
yeah, which we'll come to see that to escape, you
Throughout.
kind of accept your failure, I guess. But
Yeah.
how about the burning car scene when because we learned earlier like the Frenchman, he has a burn scar on his hand, and one of the guys like, how'd that happen? He's like, don't ask him. And then it turns out like his friend had passed away in a burning car or something, and like he left or didn't help or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they all sort of have like stories, right? Because like the one guy, they find the piano down there that he used to play with his brother, and we come to find out that he sort of left his brother to drown, going for help, and then the other guy leaves his friend in a burning car or whatever. Like they all have these sort of horrible regrets in their life. That where they could have saved somebody, but they didn't. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and the piano was not only just a piano, it was actually his piano because he said
Right.
we used to play the song, but we could never finish it because a certain key would stick. And when he played the song, he couldn't finish it because that same key, was fucked up. So it was cool that it was actually like items from their past kind of showing up in this place.
Yeah. I like when the
Um,
guy gets sucked into the ground and his legs are just sticking up.
mhm.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that
Yeah,
was
that was a really cool
insane.
visual.
Yeah, it's interesting because like it's like a really slow progression of just creepy things like happening. And it kind of all starts right where the dude sees that woman behind him, the cameraman, one of the main cameramans, right? That's kind of the first death of the movie, if I'm not mistaken. He sees that woman once again, sort of walking behind him, hears her, and then it's that scene is fucking pretty disturbing, man. Like all of a sudden, like they're watching, and his fucking corpse, his body just comes
Yeah.
flying down and gets fucked. Absolutely, like he just gets like he's dead instantly, obviously. But that's sort of the beginning of the end for all of them. Not all of them, but some of them.
That happens twice with him. He also falls, but like he's like caught or he catches himself with his hands, which is why his hands are
Right?
so fucked
Yeah.
up. Like, dude, what
Yeah.
are you doing? That was a effective
Yeah.
scare too. It's like
Mhm.
a
Yeah. Poor Benji.
Right.
mhm.
Yeah, I like that. Man, it's the audio in this movie is really you hear the horns throughout too, which they kind of go over sort of the horns, as
History.
you're
Yeah.
getting closer to hell. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is really cool too. But yeah, man, I mean, so I think it's cool, right? Like the slow progression sort of into hell. Um, but do you think that's my biggest complaint? Like, I wish like we actually got to like the gates of hell. We never actually get there. I feel like so there is like some great. Obviously, you see the bloody hands coming through at one point, which was awesome, and you get these sort of I don't know statue
Mm-hmm.
demons too and stuff like that. But I just wanted just a little bit more. Like I just wanted like crazy ass like fire and flying demons and like getting to the actual portal to hell. Maybe that's not what this movie was about. It was more about them sort of like I don't know, accepting their sins and atoning for them, which is what they do kind of mention that we have to atone, I think at the end or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to see just a little more. I just feel like it was sort of a tease.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we said the same thing about Event Horizon. Like we want to see the
Mhm.
extreme,
Yeah.
the extreme of this, but I still think it works in this movie. Not seeing it, but
Mhm.
also would love to have seen just a little glimpse, just a little snippet.
Mhm.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I get it's all about like Dante's Inferno as they're going through the different circles
Mhm.
of hell and stuff like that, and how each level is one of the the sins, the seven deadly sins and stuff like that. But you're right, it would have been cool to see kind of the peak hell, I guess. But I did
Yeah.
like that each level kind of had its own little gimmick to it. They have that one
Mhm.
level where the sound is all fucked up. I think that was an
Mhm.
interesting. We
Yeah, that
talked
was
about the
cool.
sound. That was a cool little moment that and it just constantly had like these different like you never knew what to expect. You never knew what was going to be a scare, what wasn't, and I like that. You mentioned
Mhm.
the corpse before that like the one from the Crusades that's there, and it's like kind of not quite decayed in the first time, but then when they're on the other side, it's like a decayed of the same corpse. But I think everyone, and probably you guys too, I think, thought that corpse is going to do something. It's going to move. It's going to fucking be in the corner. It's going to disappear something, right? But they
Yeah,
don't, and I like that. I like these like kind of herrings that they put in that kind of then you really don't know what to expect. It could be anything.
So does it break your rule, Joe, of why are they still filming at any point?
I mean, I feel like most of the time they were using it for light, right? So I mean that makes sense. I don't think it ever
It's on their head
fully
too. So
breaks it. Yeah, right. And their headlamps and stuff. So you're really not thinking about it, especially if it's like a headlamp with a camera attached to it. So that makes sense to me. And if you're using it for light, because it's fucking pitch black down there, so you need that camera for light. So I think it, it makes sense for me. Like there was never a time in this movie where I felt like they shouldn't be filming. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was fine with it personally.
yeah, the picking up of the camera every once in a while, I was like, just drop the fucking camera, you know. I get it.
Well, if you can't see though.
It's a better source of light than their headlamps, but
Mhm.
still, it was. I don't know, at some points, I thought, like, especially so. There's a scene that I want to ask you guys about. So there's a scene where there's these bunch of hooded characters, like demons or whatever, that are kind of walking
Mhm.
around and stuff. And Scarlet, she goes back, she puts the stone back, and she goes back and she like POV punches the
Yeah.
the demons. Did you think that was a kind of a weird angle to show her doing these things, like the whole POV look, or
Yeah, it was a little funky. It
yeah,
looked a little funky.
it looked off to me.
It didn't bother me, but they seem to be defeated pretty easily. Like I feel
Yeah.
like she just like kicked them and they like
like,
disintegrated,
"Oh!"
Like yeah. It was just like, okay, I guess so. I also felt like so my only issue with the ending was I thought it was cool, obviously, like how they're with the as above so below like sort of thing, how like they're at the bottom now and it's like their way out. I just wish like there was nothing coming like man, I don't see this is like something where it's like you remember something that never happened. So I remembered this movie. I thought like there were like demon hands like grabbing them or whatever, and when they closed the thing at the end that there were fucking like all these demon hands, which doesn't happen in this movie. And probably would have been cooler. Maybe that's why I thought of it. But I just feel like they get out too easily. Like, right? Like at the end, like I feel like there should have been some sort of threat coming at them.
Yeah, I agree. It's an amazing visual, like them coming out
Mhm.
upside down and having to crawl out of the manhole,
Yeah.
and they're like on the street next to the canal, and people are looking at them like, "What the fuck?" But it would have been cool if
Yeah.
there's that extra sense of danger, like multiple creatures
Mhm.
or anything, like slowly come after them, and they have to shut the gate portal to hell, and they're free. That would have been
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because those hooded figures were very conveniently only attacking when it was like, important to the story. Like they
Right.
just wouldn't
Yeah.
attack or wouldn't be there. Like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense why they weren't attacking the ones that were on the ground, and
Mhm.
so
Why would they let them out? Like if you're down the portal of hell, wouldn't they
right.
like I mean, maybe
Yeah,
but maybe they found their way out before they explored. Like if they kept exploring, maybe they would have found that gate to hell. So they got lucky and sort of found their way out. I don't know. Like,
did they get out because they atoned for their sins?
I mean,
Maybe.
that's what we're to
Yeah,
assume, right?
I
Like
think so,
that
that's the point.
yeah, they were able to kind of accept their mistakes. I don't
What
remember
was it?
his. I don't know if it's ever explored.
I'm shocked he lived, to be
That
honest. Like when
He's
I
dead.
first
I
saw
was just
him,
gonna say that
uh,
I'm shocked that there were 3 of them survived. I thought for sure it would only be 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, and not even him. Maybe the guide, if anybody.
yeah,
Would
because
have
like
Right.
yeah, when they first introduced him, they don't really introduce him. He's just in the van already, like kind of the crew. I'm
Right,
like,
yeah.
oh, good, they're bringing along fucking red shirts
Side
to
character,
kill during the adventure, but he fucking
Mhm.
makes it. And I kind of like it that he just at the end, there's not this big like jubilation. He just like,
Mhm.
He just walks away.
fuck you guys, I'm out. Yeah.
Imagine his.
Yeah.
Where do they go after this? Like seriously, like what? Their lives are fucked.
Yeah, I
man.
mean, because they're dead. I mean, like, what do you? It's not like you really can't go to the police in that
No,
situation.
they're
Like,
gonna think you
I don't
murdered them.
think,
Yeah.
and be right. Yeah. So I guess you just accept that some of your friends and accomplices died down there, and
We all know what they're doing
they're
next.
they're just forever missing. Like,
Fixing
Yeah,
clocks.
what are they doing?
No, they're on TikTok. This is Scar, and I'm going to tell you about my experience down
Scar.
yeah.
We were
But
literally
where
in
does
hell.
Yeah.
So are we to assume though when she sees her, like at the beginning of the movie, right? She does see her dad hanging,
Yep.
obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
When she's leaving there, like we assume, like what are we to assume there? Like that what she saw down there was real,
I
and
think
that was
that's
like sort of like a warning.
I think there are
Or, like-
multiple portals to hell.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that was like the portal in Iran, and the Iranian
Yeah.
government were about to destroy it, probably because they knew what was
Yeah.
down there. So that's
Mhm.
what. And
That makes sense.
The French government also tried to destroy it, right? Because they blocked access
Sealed them
to
off.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe that's exactly what it was. It's just there's multiple portals throughout the world that lead to hell.
You
Yeah.
think you do a better job though of like sealing off the portal to hell? Like, do something. Put some spikes on it or something. I don't know.
The manhole that.
Well, let's see though. Like, if you were to open that manhole, you're not going into hell. You'd have to go
No.
through
No.
the whole
No.
section. Yeah. But
No, you're not seeing that.
yeah.
Pretty
What else?
wild.
Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen this get explored further. Like, this is a movie I would have loved to have seen get like a sequel or a franchise. Would it have done as well? You know, some movies don't need them, but I think it would have been cool to explore even more into this. But then another side of me, I guess, says maybe we didn't. You know, maybe it's just cool like that it was left as is, and it makes it more memorable because we never did get anything. But I think like the idea of like portals to hell and gates to hell don't really get explored enough in horror, like especially like this originally. And I would love to see like sort of more with sort of uh we got something with what's that one? It wasn't exactly horror, but The House That Jack Built explores sort of the gates of hell and sort of Dante's Inferno and stuff in a really sort of interesting and unique way. But I feel like horror wise we haven't explored it enough.
Yeah, I actually think I would like to see sequels to this. I think Scarlet could be the horror version of Indiana Jones, where she wants to know more about the horrors of the world. And because she seems like the type of person that would take this experience and just get more curious about what else is out there. You know, she seems that type. So I would like to see that. Like Indiana Jones is the same thing. He almost gets killed in every movie, finding whatever MacGuffin he's looking for in that film, but he's psyched to go see more because he said that's his nature, is he wants to learn and explore and find these things for museums. In this case, you know, she wants to write books or whatever the case may be. I think it would be cool for her to explore the kind of more horrific parts of, you know, the world. And I think that would have been an awesome way to have a franchise out of this. Because there are a lot of really creepy places in the world, you know, that could have some kind of weird situations. You know, you have, especially with like dead bodies and stuff, you have the corpses in Palermo, I think it is, in Italy, where that like super famous incorruptible corpse is, the little girl who her eyes open and shit like that. I don't know if you guys know that story. I forget what her name was.
No.
Yeah, it's like there's this corpse that's there. So it's like these. I think it's called Palermo. It's a church in Palermo that has a bunch of mummified bodies that are just kind of exposed. And there's this one specific girl who looks basically like she died yesterday. She's been dead like 70, 80 years. And yeah, people just, it like defies science as to why she's so well preserved. And then there are also rumors that she opens her eyes from time to time, but they ended up debunking that. It's just like the way the light reflects in the room and stuff like that makes it look like her eyes are open. But it's really creepy, like how she's so perfectly preserved. And I think there's weird stuff happening there, and that'd be a cool kind of location that this character could explore. And there's a bunch of like things like that in the world.
Yeah, no, definitely. And now I want to go see the catacombs. It's definitely on my bucket list for sure. It seems like it'd be a really awesome place to explore. Just don't go down the
Squad
wrong
Hangout
hallways.
2025.
That, yes, absolutely. That'd be,
I'll be your guide.
I'd be down.
I can speak
There
the
you go.
language. So.
Find us a
Oh,
Frenchman
yeah.
to sneak us around, Steve.
I'll be a Papillon. I'll
Yes.
just put my name everywhere and tag
Papillon.
it. Yeah. Pap, man, it's Pap. Fucking
All
tag
right.
everything.
All right, I think that about covers it.
Papillon.
This director has done some other good stuff too, by the way. John Eric Dowdle, the Poughkeepsie tapes,
Okay.
Quarantine,
Okay.
Devil.
Okay.
So he's got a pretty decent track record there.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's done anything since though, as about
Yeah,
So
those are
Below,
all mid 2014, 15, 16. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into rating it. Who wants to start us off?
I'll go. I am a big 4 out of 5. I think the setting is amazing. The audio is phenomenal. Acting is all solid. The visuals are dope. The scares are effective and they're not overused. So 4 out of 5.
100% agree. 4 out of 5 for me as well. I actually had it at a 3.5 out of 5 prior to this rewatch. But yeah, man, after rewatching it, this held up even better than I thought it would. Like I said, in my opinion, one of the best found footage horror movies out there. You can't do much better than this. It's fantastic. The setting is perfect and it's creepy. Like watch it with the lights out, and I guarantee you'll definitely feel some creep factor with this one. So yeah, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, same thing for me. So 4 out of 5. I was very close to giving it 4.5 out of 5. I just thought more about it. I'm like, it's just missing something. There's something that's missing to get that 4.5. But 4 out of 5, it's a solid movie. One of the better found footage movies, like you said. I totally agree with that. People should check out Butterfly Kisses as well. That's one that's super underrated that people don't talk about. But this one, yeah, it's great. A great location, a really good, like really effective scares. There are like 3 scares in this, or 3 or 4 scares that could have made like my top scare of the year. You know, and movies don't do that enough nowadays. I almost struggle to find like a good scare every year when we do our awards, and this one had like multiple ones in the same movie. So yeah, people need to check it out. Absolutely.
Would have this been on any of your guys' top 10 if we had rewatched it before then?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right. What was your favorite scare?
When the girl looks, man, for me,
When the girl looks.
it
Yeah.
creeped me. The fucking
When
the
he
cult.
right before he falls. That one.
No. When they see like the cult, like the topless cult there, and she like
topless
Yeah.
cult. I love it.
yeah, she kind of looks at him. There's something that gave me the fucking creeps
Yeah.
when she did that. So
Yeah.
The
that's-
ghost sees
It's
you.
great. Yeah.
I like when the dude falls down the thing and dies. Benji.
Mm-hmm.
That's super
Yeah.
effective.
I like the bloody hands coming out. It was pretty cool. And I mean, there's a lot of great ones. All right. And currently sitting at a 3.1 out of 5 over on the Letterboxd. So just a slightly lower than us. All right. That's going to wrap it up then for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our review of As Above, So Below. Next week, what are we doing, Steve?
Oh, I'm excited. Next week we're reviewing Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I'm so fucking psyched for this movie. Probably the most psyched I am for any movie this year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that episode for sure.
Very cool. Highly anticipated movie. Obviously, I cannot wait to discuss that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Hopefully, I find the Slimer popcorn bucket when I go out there
Ooh.
too.
You mean
I know you
this
got one, right, Todder? Yeah,
Yeah.
Todd got one early. He fucking went over. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm hoping I can find something at least when I go. So yeah, come join us. Hopefully you can hit up a theater this upcoming weekend to check out Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire and then listen to our review. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can also email us anytime, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com. But of course, the absolute best way is the Discord. All you gotta do is send us an email, find us, or a DM, or it's also linked on our Instagram, and you can join our Discord. Completely free to join. Amazing community over there. We do movie clubs every month. The next one will be in April. So amongst many other channels you can explore over on our Discord, horror and non-horror talk. So join us over there on the Discord. Don't forget important dates: June 7th through the 9th, Living Dead weekend, Monroeville, Pennsylvania, home of course, the Dawn of the Dead. It's going to be an amazing weekend over there. So grab your weekend passes, thelivingdeadweekend.com, and grab the 1 p.m. mall tour. All 3 of us will be there, as well as many other people, listeners, and even fellow people that were on this podcast, because I believe Sam is coming as well. So yeah, come join us for an amazing weekend for Living Dead weekend. And don't forget, October 11th through the 13th is our Hocus Pocus weekend in Salem, Massachusetts. It's just a bunch of Halloween.com for any and all details on that. Coming very, very soon. And yeah, merch, tpublic.com, the Horror Squad Podcast, if you'd like to support the podcast that way, or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would help us greatly. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. See ya.
Bye.